In this video, I'll talk about the best businesses to start in 2025. As we're in the digital age and with the significant rise of AI, I think it's a golden opportunity to take advantage of. I'll give you my honest opinions about all of these businesses, and they will all be based out of my own experiences. And towards the end, I'll also make sure to give you tips on what exact business to focus on. But before we go into anything, I think it's important to know who's actually speaking about this stuff. So I started my business journey about 6 to 7 years ago. I realized as I was releasing some music that no one is actually discovering the music that I'm putting out. So I needed to learn marketing. And when I learned that I needed to know more about business and whatever business means and stuff like that. One thing basically led to another, and I started to create several different online businesses, just honing my craft in the whole thing. Today, together with last year, I've actually made multiple 6 figures in profits with my online businesses. It just took a lot of time to actually get to this point with a lot of trial and error. So after this video, hopefully you'll know a lot more on what to focus your time on. All right, with that being said, let's get into the first business. The first business that I started was a marketing agency. So I had a small marketing agency where I mainly did Facebook ads for artists, trying to get their songs out to the public. You basically promoted them using Facebook ads, and that Facebook ad then drove them to a landing page, and through that landing page they could like go to your Spotify, and they could either listen to the song or they could like grow your Spotify following, so to speak. That was the whole gist of that. That culminated in me like learning a lot about how to do like how to actually grow a lot of music through that kind of ad. So that actually taught me a lot about how Facebook ads work, and that was a really important thing to know, because that basically gave me the fundamentals in how ads actually work, that on what a funnel is, and taking someone from not knowing you at all to getting them to actually click a link, and then to learn about your music, and then to listen. So basically the whole fundamentals of actually marketing is what I mainly learned in the marketing agency. But the most beautiful thing that I just found with making a marketing agency, even though it was really small, was that I learned what it takes to actually get clients, how hard it is. I also learned the fundamentals of doing the finance stuff within a business, like simple bookkeeping and stuff like that. I also learned that the most beautiful thing of all when it comes to business, and that's that you can actually get paid to learn on the job, as long as you have clients coming in. You have to always be at a certain level, which means that you have to still be kind of good, but you get better and better and better at the thing the more you do it, which also means that you can charge more. But the best thing about it is that you can charge for it for where you're at. And as you get better, you can increase your prices, and you can get paid for what you're worth, so to speak. And it's all a fluent thing where you can just set your own rates, and it makes the whole thing really creative. So I learned a lot from the marketing agency. However, it was really, really hard, and I did not like having to do cold outreach and stuff like that. And with that, my main goal actually with my own marketing agency that I had at the time was mainly to learn Facebook ads and to get good at Facebook ads, which I achieved. So I would basically put this at a C tier. I'll maybe put it here because with the online businesses that you can actually make today, there's a lot of upfront time cost in this. You can do it, but it takes a lot of effort, and unless you really want to create a big marketing agency, I mean, if you don't have a really strong why with the marketing agency in and of itself, is really hard, and getting clients is not easy. You can do cold outreach, like Alex Hormozi talks about in his $100 million leads book. So yeah, there are basically 4 ones, and I think I got this from Alex Hormozi, but he explains everything so easy. So if we just take a look at this here, the 4th ways that you can actually get people to buy your stuff is that they have to know about your stuff first, and they can only know about your stuff by either you contacting contact people you know, which is warm outreach, you contact otherwise, or you can contact people you don't know, which is cold outreach. You can also run paid ads, for instance Facebook ads, or you can post free content. I really did not like to do this because I had already achieved my goal up until a certain extent, and it was really, really hard to I could scale it and so forth, but you'd need employees and stuff. And the biggest constraint that I felt with the whole thing was that I wanted something that I could scale easily myself without putting too much risk on. So that's why I personally like leave it at a C tier. It's mainly based out of my own goals, because my main goal is like still to be a music artist, and I had basically gotten the knowledge that I needed from the marketing agency to progress to the next level. The second type of thing that I actually tried when it comes to business is freelancing work. So when it comes to freelancing, I basically tried a couple different things, but I mainly tried doing Fiverr and Upwork. So both of these different sites give you, like they are similar, but also not similar. It's kind of like Etsy and Amazon, so to speak. But basically, you put up your services that people then can buy, and then you sell your services on the platform. Just like any other business, you have to build up social proof in order to get consistent sales and so forth, and it was a real grind. I definitely made some money on both sides, and I approached them very differently, because on Upwork, I did more like in-depth stuff. With the freelancing work, I basically did music production. So I have my whole like life has mainly been revolving around music. This business thing has been has been like a big focus of mine for the last 6 or 7 years. But basically since I was 8, I focused on music, and the business thing is like the other skill that I need in order to pair with my music in order to make that work, which is why I'm doing all of the business stuff. But a big thing when it comes to like the freelancing stuff that I found is that it's a huge grind. You have to build up a lot of reviews. It's easier to price stuff low in the beginning to get the sales rolling and to get some reviews in so that you can get more clients in the early days. So basically just so you can get consistent sales. But the biggest thing that I found working on, for instance, Upwork, was that you can charge more here, but they also require more from you. Is like bigger projects usually. Whereas on Fiverr, I could do really simple stuff when it comes to music production. Like I had some clients that were always recurring, but they paid a lot less compared to Upwork. So I really tried to like lessen the time that I made a production, make it a lot simpler compared to Upwork, which was a much more in-depth thing that I did. For instance, when I did the podcast, it could take me a couple hours to like mix and edit that. Fiverr was really simple. Like I could also make a short film on Upwork just to give you some kind of reference, but on Fiverr it was basically always kind of feedback on like music, or it was simple mixes on music too. Now, this business, in my opinion, can be really good, but it comes with a big detriment that I found, and it's that it takes a lot of time, a lot of time. Same with the marketing agency, you have to get leads, but you get that basically through Fiverr and Upwork, which makes it easy, but you have to build up the social proof, and that's a huge hassle because you have to get the reviews on the platforms, and then those platforms are basically controlling everything for you. Plus they take usually like a big cut on the whole thing, which also makes it kind of a big detriment to your business. In my opinion, I really did not like this. I could do it like for fun for some people probably, but I did not like freelancing much at all because it was such a big risk, and you have to really build up a portfolio. And Fiverr took like 20% or something like that of your actual revenue. Upwork takes a huge chunk as well. So it's not bad per se if you really like the thing that you're doing and like you really want to scale that stuff. But I personally was looking for a simple business that I could easily scale by myself. I did not want to hire out employees and stuff like that. I wanted to make something like by myself that I could easily scale by myself without taking on too much risk, because employees and stuff like that are a big risk when you have a business, because you have to pay them. And like if you have trained an employee, for instance, and stuff like that, not getting like enough clients, if you don't want to lose the actual employee, then you have to like, you have to pay them, so to speak. But basically, freelancing is something that I would like personally just put at the D tier because of the actual big commitment that it takes. Third big business venture that I did was print on demand, which this whole channel basically is about. And this is where I've made all my money basically. The beauty about print on demand is that it's such a low risk. It doesn't take, like now it costs like $15 to start a shop. Did not cost anything for me to start the shop, but then it costs like 20 cents to like put up a listing. It's super simple, and for me at least, it was a great, like, even though I did not know anything about design, the whole concept of like not needing any employees and then just basically being able to scale everything by yourself at your own pace. And then the more you sell, it doesn't take a lot more work from you, so to speak. Like in theory, it does take a lot more if you do like personalized orders and stuff like that. But basically the whole idea behind print on demand is so much more scalable, in my opinion, and like compared to freelancing work or like a marketing agency, because it's such a much more flexible business. You can usually do everything by yourself, and if you systemize everything, it makes it easier. You can do that again with the other ones, but just a lot more work with the other ones, in my opinion. So print on demand is where I've made basically all my money, and it's where I've made multiple 6 figures in profits in just about 2 years. So yeah, I would basically put this at an S tier, because this is where I've found most success. It's definitely like a low barrier of entry, but the low risk associated with it, it's so low. Like you don't have to incur basically almost any risk at all, and it's mainly determined about how good you are at the actual craft itself, mainly like designing, but also like crafting the offer and stuff like that. So yeah, print on demand for me is definitely an S tier, especially because of one thing too, and that's because we are currently here. Like the market basically is growing about 25% year on year, and we are just here in this little baby stage compared to basically where we're gonna be. I think I heard Alex Ramosi say in some videos that this is a really important metric to like look at, to just see if it's a business that you want to enter. And just seeing that it's growing this much year on year is just a huge indicator that it's something that's really worth to get into. I didn't even know this at the time. I learned about this specific year, but honestly, it's a perfect business, at least for me, as I'm a creative person. Even though I don't know much about design, I could really just focus on commerce here, just seeing that, okay, this element works here, this element works here, and then putting those two together to create something new. Super simple. I don't have to go full on artist on this stuff. I just create simple stuff, proving best-selling elements, which makes it such an easy thing to do. So print on demand for me is definitely an S tier. The last type of business that I tried is digital products. So basically digital products is something that I tried, but I didn't like fail, so to speak, in it, but I just found that trying this was really hard, just like print on demand was. It's definitely scalable, and just like print on demand is, but there's one big caveat to it. So with print on demand, you can basically put a design on a lot of different products. You can put it on like you can just scale it to different type of things. So you can put and this type of design can easily be sold a lot of times. Whereas a digital product, so to speak, like if it's for instance like a greeting card, it's not like you can put that exact same design on another type of digital product. You'd have to fiddle around a lot with it to do that. But again, it's hard to scale it just like you do with POD. And it's a whole different ball game. So in my opinion, like digital products is a huge thing if you know how to do it. I tried my hands on it, and I definitely got some sales, but it didn't really work as well as print on demand did. And for me, just basically being able to take a design, scale it to different product categories, different niches, it's just such a simple thing to do. Like if you have a text-based design and it works in like this niche for like nurses, then you can take this specific design and just do it for every other niche there is. And if you want to play it safe and double down on the specific nurse niche, you can just take this design and just apply it to every single nurse niche there is. So that's a huge thing with digital products. For instance, if you have a wedding invitations or something like that, I don't have that much experience with it, so I'm not sure how you would scale that. Yeah, it's a whole different ball game. It's hard in my opinion, it's just harder to scale, whereas print on demand is really straightforward. You can definitely make it work like insanely good because it's so passive compared to print on demand, but it still take a lot of work in order to get this whole ball rolling. Personally, I just prefer print on demand because it's such a much more easy way to just have an online business, because you can just take a design and scale it out much more easy compared to a digital product. So I'll put this at an A tier, mainly because I don't have that much experience with it. I know that it can work super well if you know it, but It's a whole different ball game. So I'm not sure how well it would fare. It's still really good, but I wouldn't put it in an S tier just like print on demand is. All right, so after all of this, what business should you focus on? So in my opinion, and it's kind of obvious probably after this whole spiel about print on demand, but it's print on demand. Print on demand is growing year on year, like steadily. Like you can see that here. We're still in the baby stages of it. There's proven demand on it. It's still new. So I would highly recommend you just focus on print on demand just because all of the indicators of a growing market is there. Now, I wouldn't just focus on one like avenue. Like there are different avenues where you can do print on demand. I started off of Etsy. I also do Amazon Merch on Demand. Both of those are super good sites. Printify just launched their Amazon integration, so I would strongly recommend honestly to focus there in the beginning. There probably are kinks with the whole integration at the moment because every time a new software company just starts something like this, there's always going to be kinks, but basically they always sort it out just after some time. And in all honesty, like Amazon is such a huge conglomerate at the moment. So I think Amazon and print on demand is going to be like the future about the whole thing because they are just own so much of the actual market share when it comes to e-commerce overall. So yeah, I would recommend to do print on demand on Etsy or Amazon as it looks right now. But another important part about this whole thing is that you can actually skill stack. So what I mean by this is that when you try to do this kind of businesses, like I had a lot of failed businesses, like I tried my marketing agency that didn't like scale. You could classify that as a failure. I don't see it as that, but you can classify it as that. I tried freelancing. That didn't really pan out for me. You could classify that as well as a failure. All of these kind of things just made me learn a lot about the whole thing about business, and that then eventually led me to print on demand. The skills kind of stack on top of each other until basically I know everything that I need to know in a golden opportunity like print on demand, where I can really excel. Apart from that, I just think that print on demand and like you learn so many skills with that you can just like it just stacks on top of each other. And if you enter a new venture, like for instance me, I do YouTube now, a lot of the things that I learned with Etsy applies to YouTube when it comes to SEO, for instance. So they do stack on, like the skills stack on top of each other because I can apply the skills that I learned on Etsy to my YouTube channel, for instance. So a really important part about this whole thing is that when you enter something new, at least when I entered something new, I just noticed that I learned a couple things, but in the ventures that I do afterwards, I can apply all of the knowledge that I have to that specific venture, and through that, having an easier time being successful at it. So if you are just a complete beginner with print on demand, just remember that the skills stack on top of each other, and even though you might start with print on demand, it's probably not like going to be the final business that you have. But the skills that you learn from it will be like invaluable. At least that's how I feel about the whole thing. With all that being said, the most important part about print on demand in the end is always going to be the design. It's the main variable to actually get sales. So if you want to learn more about that and you want to start print on demand business, I would strongly recommend to watch this video right here. Anyhow, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.